The United States and Iran have achieved a major breakthrough to end the war which has gripped West Asia for over 3 months. Both sides have reached an agreement on a Memorandum of Understanding. The MOU is not the final agreement, but it paves a path towards negotiations on the final deal. Representatives from America and Iran are scheduled to sign the MOU on the 19th of June in Geneva, Switzerland. Leading up to the formal adoption, both sides will continue pre-implementation discussions. But what does this MOU really entail? Neither Iran nor the United States have provided the official text of the MOU that has been agreed upon by both sides. All we have for now are conflicting statements from officials and source-based reports. Announcing the critical development, President Trump said the naval blockade on Iran will be lifted immediately and the Strait of Hormuz will be open to all commercial vessels. But hours later, Trump said the U.S. naval blockade will be removed and the Strait of Hormuz would reopen after the planned signing of the deal on Friday. However, Iran's foreign ministry says maritime service fees will be charged in Hormuz. Apart from this, Iran says the U.S. has committed to compensations, releasing frozen funds under the deal. According to Iranian media, the United States will be releasing $12 billion of Iran's frozen funds after signing of the MOU. However, there is no official response from Washington on the existence of such a clause. The entire premise of the war with Iran was to degrade its military capability, create conditions for regime change, and force Iran to give up its ambition of acquiring a nuclear weapon. President Trump says all three objectives have been achieved and that he will have Iran sign a nuclear deal that is better than Obama's JCPOA. Let's now take a look at Obama's Iran nuclear deal, which was signed in 2015 and remained in force until Trump pulled out of it in 2018. The deal ensured that Iran would not seek, develop, or acquire nuclear weapons. Iran's nuclear enrichment was capped at 3.67% for 15 years. In return, the United States and European nations lifted sanctions on Iran and released its frozen funds. Under the Obama-era deal, Iran agreed not to seek a nuclear weapon, but Donald Trump argued that it was binding for only 15 years and that a new deal with Iran would not have such an expiry date. But to achieve this, President Trump will have to overcome a major roadblock. Israel is not a signatory to the MOU. If the U.S. president fails to convince Netanyahu to withdraw Israeli forces from Lebanon, the entire deal with Iran could collapse. Tehran has made it clear a peace deal with the United States must ensure an Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon and cessation of all strikes by Israel. During an interview with ABC, former U.S. President Barack Obama raised doubts about the possibility of a better nuclear deal with Iran than the JCPOA.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place and had worked for a long stretch of time before the United States pulled out of it. So I'm hopeful that bombing stops and ordinary people are no longer suffering as a consequence of the war.
According to U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the main difference between Trump's deal and Obama's deal is that Obama begged Iran for a deal, while the current administration bombed them. But will that end up being the only difference?